Hey, welcome back to another Let's Code. Today we have some Discord maintenance to do. In the Party Corgi Discord, we have this role command that lets you request a role or self-assign yourself a role. Right now, it only has the streamer role. So if you autocomplete, you would become a streamer. This is a slash command, which we have handled on Netlify as a Rust function. And one of the things that we want to do today is actually add some more options. We are trying to take a few of the things that happen in the gaming channel and move them out of the gaming channel into their own space so that people can ping each other if they want to start a game in a certain platform, and also just to make a little bit more space in the gaming channel for other games as some of the games get a little bit more discussion than others. So we want to make sure that as these games with more discussion get more activity, that they aren't overriding any other gaming, such as more casual games like Animal Crossing, or just in general, Prince here, who submitted the PR, is also working on a codenames bot for Discord. So we want to make sure that space is available, and we want to make sure that when people want to play with each other and meet up outside of working on something, working on tech, working on blog posts, etc., that they can contact each other easily. So Prince added a Fortnite role because that's one of the things we're moving out to its own channel to the bot. And the bot, again, is a Rust function on Netlify. The problem with that is that we have some build failures. And the Rust support on Netlify has been around a while, but it has not been stable yet. So currently, I believe it's in beta. I just finished a workshop for Rust Adventure, which is centered around building public APIs with the most current, most up-to-date, most stable version of Rust and Netlify functions. But the version that we have here in the Party Corgi Discord is built with a lot of very early attempts at getting the function to work. So basically, we're using some forks of some libraries and things like that. We are cross-compiling, which I don't believe we really need to do anymore. And basically, today what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up the build failure and then implement sort of the most current Netlify Rust Lambda APIs. So if we look at the build failure right here, we can see that it failed to run custom build command for ring. I feel like ring is troublesome when we're cross-compiling a little bit. It has custom build commands. It has like a build.rs and stuff like that, as far as I know. And we are cross-compiling to Linux muscle, which sometimes you need to do, but I don't believe that we actually need to do in this case because the build environment on Netlify CI and then Netlify functions runtime are compatible if we're using Rust libraries. So let's make sure that we have the latest version of the Discord/commands code. Currently, I have some changes locally that I did not remember working on. So let's take a look at this. I think this is all instrumentation in the sense of we were trying to send observability data to Honeycomb. And I think I'm just going to stash this for now. I can go back later. I think there's more modern ways of doing the tracing information as well. I would probably use some OpenTelemetry collectors using the tracing crate, and then use the OpenTelemetry ingest for something like Honeycomb if I wanted to send it there. I have a Docker file locally that I didn't commit either. We're just going to ignore that for now. I'm going to pull down the changes and open up a VS Code instance. Yada yada. VS Code wants to update again, as always. So we've got a handle event here. Let's take a look at the structure. Lamed HTTP is a crate that we are going to need to swap out. This is a fork of the AWS Rust runtime libraries. So we're going to change that out for Lambda runtime. Lazy static is something we currently use. I don't see a real reason to change that. The only reason to change that would be to move to something like once cell, which we kind of really don't need to do. I thought this reverse map was the thing that Prince changed. Let me see if it's... Maybe I'm on the wrong branch. I'm on the main branch. Is the main branch not where I should be? This was a PR. Yeah, this is a PR into main. This was merged, Discord/commands. This is in REPL.json. So that actually we do need to modify. So I'm going to take this Fortnite player. So in REPL.json, the reason that the command is not currently updated is because this needs to be sent as a curl request. So in this make file, which is pretty scary if you've never seen a makefile before. But in this makefile, it has like a build, a deploy, and things like that. This create guild command is the command that we need to use to send REPL up. It's unauthorized, so I need to go grab a new token, I think. I think the token is out of date, which is fine. We can deal with that later, actually. I will safe list roles to assume is something that we don't seem to use anymore, so I'm just going to get rid of that. In here, I'm going to copy this. I don't think that's the name of the actual role, so I need to go check that. Map.insert. I think it's just called Fortnite in the Discord. So I'll save that and go check Discord. If I go into the server settings and the roles, to add a role icon, click on a role you can edit. Oh, right. I forgot about that. So there's streamer here. We've got about 80 streamers or 80 people that have opted into calling themselves streamers in chat. And then we've got Fortnite. Fortnite is definitely the name for the role. So here we do need to name it Fortnite. Let's check where this is being used quickly. Oh, wow. That's really poorly formatted. What is going on there? Okay, so something here is really weird. Maybe I can just run cargo format. Let's do cargo plus nightly format. So that's surprising. Interesting. All right, well, that's really awful and unfortunate, but it doesn't affect what we need to do anyway. So Discord event. This is using some library code that I built for handling Discord interactions. I built it around the Netlify library and some stuff like ed25519 which is a Rust implementation of the signature verification that we need. The APIs here are implement into response and things like that. The lib just re-exports stuff. So let's go into main here. Let's comment out the tracing stuff for the moment. This handler is not going to get a request. It is going to get something new. Okay, so in Rust Adventure, I have a bunch of examples for this, but I'm just going to go to the Pokemon API one and just take a quick look at some of the specifics around the signature here. So this is something we're going to need right up here. We're going to get a API gateway proxy request and return an API gateway proxy response. So we don't really need into response anymore. Those function signatures are going to change. Lambda runtime is another one that we need because we're going to change the setup here to look a little bit more like this. So maybe I'll just copy this in because it's basically boilerplate. And then our main function here is going to change. This Lambda HTTP is gone. We don't need it. This handler is going to become an API gateway proxy request. This is still going to be context. And this is going to return, I think this should be returning an API gateway proxy response. Get rid of this stuff for the moment. I can always go back into Git and find that stuff. So I'm not too worried about it. Let's go into cargo toml for this and remove some of the things that we aren't going to use anymore. For example, we are not going to use Lambda HTTP. I think the tracing honeycomb and libhoney rust are things that we could also probably remove right now. And what I'm actually going to do here is just make it a pretty basic default formatter. So I'm going to remove that. I can always go back into the Git history and find it if I need to. This is some instrumentation testing stuff. I don't think we have any more of that. Cool. We don't need a MySQL pool here or a database URL. And we'll just go tracing subscriber format init, which will give us the default output, which is okay. Handler function lambda runtime are things that we don't have installed yet. So let's go back over here and let's go look at cargo.toml. And in cargo.toml, we'll probably need, I think we have AWS Lambda events already installed. We need the Lambda runtime. And I think that's actually it because we already have all this other stuff installed. So we cargo add Lambda runtime and make sure just at the top, we already have AWS Lambda events. What version of AWS Lambda events do we have? We have 0.4. Let's upgrade that. 0.5. 0.5 is the current version, I think. So I'll do this because I didn't do it to a package. So P, and this package is called interactions. So cargo add-p interactions Lambda runtime. We want to build it because I want to download the dependencies so that Rust Analyzer can find them. That's why we see the red squiggles and stuff. Well, that's not why we see the red squiggles and stuff exactly here. This is Lambda HTTP, which no longer should be there. Let's get rid of that and that. Lambda can blah, blah, blah. My guess is that this also, yeah, this is also Lambda HTTP. This will also upgrade to 0.5 to match. Let's take a look in here. I think this Netlify file is the only place that we have Lambda HTTP, because this is all irrespective of that. And this just exports. So what do we have here? Into response. We implement into response for an interaction response. And we can see on the left, we did actually hit a bunch of issues with the compilation, which is totally fine. I'm definitely expecting that right now. I'm definitely going to walk into this main.rs, and I'm just going to grab a whole bunch of stuff here. And if we need it, then great. And if we don't, then Rust Analyzer will tell us that we don't. And back in the interactions crate, I guess body is something that we'll need. Yeah, we already have it pulled into scope here. That looks fine to me. See, what else do we have here? I don't see any issues locally. Let's build and see what it tells us. Ooh, right, because I didn't save the cargo toml. So cargo toml here, save Lambda HTTP. What are we going to do about Lambda HTTP? I already know that's going to be a problem. Does into response come from, I think this crate was removed from the AWS Rust runtime stuff. So request and response here are actually going to be something else. We passed the entire request in here, which is, I mean, I guess that's okay, because in main.rs, it kind of cleans stuff up. The handle event is a Discord event. So handle event must not be what we're calling here. We're calling, so we have three functions: main, handler, and handle event. Main is the cold start code for our serverless function. Handler is the thing that bootstraps our handle/command function here. So we've got a little bit of boilerplate. The event comes in, it's an API gateway proxy request, which does not match the type from the other crate. So that will have to be adjusted a little bit. And then we return res, which is going to be the other stuff. So let's get in here and let's do the same thing we did. Let's do AWS Lambda events. That's Discord stuff. There we go, right here. Let's pull that out and let's do, it doesn't look like we need the runtime here. So we'll do AWS Lambda events and we'll remove Lambda HTTP, which is kind of cool. I like removing that. We'll build again. I'm expecting this to fail again, and Rust to kind of tell me what I need to do next to get this to work. Right off the bat, I don't think we replaced the request type. So I'm expecting it to fail on that specifically, but I do want to download all the dependencies. So like, for example, here we have a reference to a request, and we don't actually have a request anymore. We have an API gateway proxy request. While that's happening, I want to go check the Lambda runtime docs. So we'll just go to crates.io, docs.rs, 0.4 is right. AWS Lambda encodings is the other one. So in here, I don't think we have like an into response here. Yeah, Lambda runtime, Rust. I always have trouble finding this Git repo for whatever reason. There we go, Lambda Rust runtime. So we've got Lambda HTTP and Lambda Rust. Let's check out what's in Lambda HTTP on docs.rs. So Lambda runtime is the runtime. Lambda HTTP is the events and stuff. This shows like using value. We're not using value because we're using the AWS Lambda encodings crate, which gives us types for the API gateway proxy request, which is better for us. I don't want these. I want the docs.rs. And then, oh, interesting. It re-exports Lambda runtime. It does export into response. So maybe we can just do that. Maybe I didn't need to remove this. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do, instead of doing what I just did, let's do cargo add -p Discord interactions, Lambda HTTP. So that'll come in there. And then in netlify.rs, we can not do what I just did. And we'll just update this import, Lambda HTTP, which hopefully should build. Typed something wrong here because it's telling me I did something wrong. Expected enum AWS Lambda events encodings body, found Lambda HTTP body. Are those are different things. So let's see, what's body here? Body here is the same thing that the AWS Lambda encodings one is, empty text or binary. Is this defined here? This is defined here. And then AWS Lambda encodings, Rust. And then AWS Lambda encodings also has a body, which is exactly the same thing, but is actually different because it comes from a different crate. So it looks like that was copy pasted somewhere. I don't know which way it was copy pasted, but it definitely was at some point. Even the docs were copy pasted. So interesting. What do we do here about that? I think the request type from Lambda HTTP is going to be the request type from, what is the request type here? Because I don't think AWS Lambda encodings is not maintained by AWS. So it's an additional crate that just makes things a little bit easier to work with. So my guess is that this is just an HTTP request from Hyper. So I think we will have to move over. So we can update this all to work with the encodings crate. I think I would prefer to do that rather than trying to fit it into the Lambda HTTP stuff. Let me find that import again. Let's pull this in. Let's say that this Netlify crate is going to use that. I'm gonna get rid of body here. Into response is something that came in from the Lambda HTTP crate. So maybe we don't use that anymore. We'll see. We need to do this with response. This will be an API gateway proxy request. Why is it complaining about pub key? Because the macro is getting in the way of the error handling or the error detection, I believe. So into response is something that won't really exist anymore unless we define our own, which is totally fine. And we could actually do. This is using a response builder, which we don't need anymore because we're not actually building up like full responses. So let me go take a look at what I use in the Pokemon API course, because I know that I build up a few of the responses and I can just copy paste it out. Pokemon API crates, Pokemon API source main request, no response, the other direction. So this is kind of what I want. And the body text is going to be this. And then status code not found. I think I have to dot into this if I remember correctly, because status code not found is in enum and we need the number, actually the I64. Does that need to be an okay? I think it does need to be an okay. So into response sets the header content type to application JSON. If something goes wrong, then we panic and it just two strings, whatever we give it. So maybe what we do here is we do trait into response, fn into response, self to EW to this type instead. And then this needs a semicolon on the end. So this is going to be this, and then this builder is going to go away, and we are going to take the response that we just had, and we are going to put it up here. We're going to take the content type application JSON here, header map new, headers equals header map new. Let's make this mute headers dot what insert. I don't actually know what this is. Looks like we're gonna have to just deal with that for a second. Just leave that there as a comment. Status code not found into. This is going to be a 200, and this is going to be, oh, I put this in the totally wrong spot. This needs to be inside of this. This needs to be in here. ToString self. Get rid of the response builder. That is clearly a problem. Pass in self as a reference. And now we have an into response that gives us an API gateway proxy response. It always has to succeed, so maybe not the best thing to do, but it works for now. That said, we no longer have event.headers as a function because the API gateway proxy response doesn't have that as a function anyway. So there's still stuff that we need to do here. Yada, yada, yada. This needs to be okay so that we don't, why is into not working? Anyway, not found is a 404, so I'll just do that for a minute. Into response, why is that complaining? Let's see here. What do we have? No method headers, that's expected. We need to change that. Not found in this scope, so something's going wrong with lazy static. I think that's because we have so many other errors right now, and it's one of the reasons that I don't like using the macro here. Wait, did I get rid of lazy static? Netlify.rs. I did get rid of lazy static. Why did I get rid of lazy static? Oh, my bad. Build that, and now we'll have different issues. So looking at the errors, no method named headers, yes, expected. No method named body, yes, expected. No method named body, yes, expected. No method named into response for struct API gateway proxy response. Well, if we already have an API gateway proxy response, then we don't need this to be an into response, right? Oh, it does actually look like I was double into responsing here. That's not great. Oops. Okay, event.headers, API gateway proxy request. We do need to go look at. So this is Lambda events. Let's go back to not Lambda HTTP, but Lambda runtime. Lambda runtime, docs.rs, API gateway proxy request. No, wait, it isn't encodings. Never mind. Encodings, API gateway proxy request. And then headers is a header map. So it does do insert, host, whatever. Okay, so headers is going to be that. And I guess body is going to be the same thing, right? What does it say body is here? Body is an option string. Event.body. I think it's going to complain that these are header maps now because validate Discord signature doesn't take a header map. And then event.body is a sum type. So we do need to change that in the function signature as well. Expected reference to header map. Found header map. Okay, fine. We can borrow that. Borrow this too, but that's not the problem there. We'll just unwrap this because if this doesn't exist, we are in trouble. Expected a body. And then the type probably doesn't match. Let's look at validate Discord signatures type in Discord. So we do have to pass in a header map for headers, which is fine. That's actually wonderful. Body needs to be and body. Why is body not and body? AWS Lambda events encodings body. Expected and body found string. It's interesting to me that the API gateway proxy request body is not a body, but it is a string. Interesting. What do we do with the body in here? If let body text. So we can probably just bypass this, I think, because there's probably an into for that to work. This, of course, should just work on its own because we're passing in a string from slice. And then we reference the thing. Event body expect to exist. Expected slice U8 found string. Okay, so this is going to be from str now. And that's just because Serday.json has a number of functions. The functions are different based on what you're giving it. So in this case, we have a string from the body. This, though, needs to be a set of U8s, which is interesting because string is a UTF-8 type, and I don't think that'll cause us any problems here. But so if we're expecting body text here, body, then we're expecting a string. So that's actually super easy for us. Body text event.body. We just wrap it in the body text. So actually what we need here is not any of this. So we can just pass in event body. Event body is no longer a body, it's a string. Let's make it a string slice. Why not? That doesn't need to exist. Oh, actually, it does need to exist because instead of body text, we're going to do some body option string. We don't really need ownership over this, but I think I'm going to do it anyway. Just pass a reference to it in. Now the string goes into this function, so we don't actually have access to it here anymore. Oh no, temporary is freed. So yeah, temporary value is dropped while borrowed. Okay, let's go down. Let's check the actual errors happening here. In this case, move occurs because event.body has type standard option string, which does not implement copy trait. That's correct. String does not implement copy because it's an own type. Consider borrowing the options content. Okay, let's just do that. I mean, that's super easy for us. Where was it? Body dot as ref. Done. Do we even need to explicitly borrow here? No, it can just figure that out for us. And we don't use it after that, so we're done. And then what do we have here? Error redefined here. This is in main.rs 18. So let's go to main.rs 18. Error is defined here. We don't need error defined here because we're pulling it in now from the Lambda runtime, which I believe is where we'll have to pull it in the other crate too. Okay, so everything built. Let's check our warnings here. Just make sure that we're not like messing anything up egregiously. Bunch of unused imports. So I'm going to go through and just take all the unused imports out for a second. We aren't using the tracing stuff anymore. That's unfortunate. I know I said that I was doing that, but still. Cool. Wait, header content type. Let's make sure that we get this in headers.insert content type. It's going to be application JSON. I wonder if there's a constant for that. Doesn't really matter, but I still wonder. So we're going to put headers in here so that we respond with the right headers, and then this can be that, and this needs to be an actual string. So I'm just going to string it. Oh, actually, that might not need to be a string. What's my problem here? Expected header value found struct. Okay, so what is a header value? Headers map. That was header value. Where are you? There's someone in here. You got to be in here, right? Header value. There we are. Yada yada from static. Okay, so we can build it from a string. Can we? Is there an enum in here somewhere? Is there something that? No, I think from static is what we're gonna have to go with here. So header valued from static, because this is a static string that we're passing into it. That is, it's a string literal, which is a string slice that is embedded into the binary, which means that it has a static lifetime. So should work here. We may need to change that at some point in the future. I doubt that we ever need to modify this on the fly, so I'm not too worried about it. Status code is something that we're not using. We're not using serialize anymore. Interesting. Let's clean this all up a little bit more. Compiling unused variable ID on main.rs74. So let's just do that. Oh, no, we want to do this. So the way to, when you're destructuring, to ignore a variable or say that you're ignoring a variable is to destructure it and then use the underscore as the value. And then there's another one here, right? 98. And then when you're destructuring like this, you can just prefix it with the underscore for the variable name. And then that should all build. Okay, so that all built. I'm going to commit this, update to AWS Lambda libs. And I'm going to push it. I'm expecting this to still fail. TBD. We should probably update the dependencies while we're here anyway. So we did get quite a few things. That's the wrong command to use, isn't it? So that updated our cargo lock file with a couple of things. And then is there anything here? Do I have cargo outdated installed? All right, let's check. This needs to be full screened and a little bit smaller, unfortunately. Okay, so remove. WASI, Win API. Most of these aren't things that I have actual control over. Saturday I do. I could update that. I think that actually just removing these and updating them is not going to cause too much of an issue. Let's check the make file. The make file, I think, builds for muscle. So it cross compiles. And we don't actually need to cross compile anymore specifically. So if ring fails to build again, I think what I'm going to do is remove the cross compilation. Like technically speaking, cross compiling is a little bit safer. Yeah, ring failed to build again. Ring v16.20. So let's take a look at the cargo tomls here. What do we think the latest version of request is? That'll be interesting. I feel like there's an extension that I don't have installed right now. How do I view the extensions? X? Ooh, okay. Cargo. Integration with cargo. I think this is what I want. Checks your code with cargo check. I don't need that. I have Rust Analyzer. Yeah, I don't need that. I thought there was an extension for just checking. Yeah, here we go. Okay, crates. Crates, I think is what it is. Yes, this is what I want. So this package is something that I've used before, which if I go here, look at all this. Now I know, right? Now I know. I don't think we're using tracing honeycomb anymore, so I'm just going to remove it. Tracing subscriber, I will update. ArrayVec. I don't think that I need to update ArrayVec right now, so I'm just going to ignore that. And let's go into cargo toml over here. It looks like everything's fine, actually. Interesting. libhoney_rust isn't something we need. Well, yeah, that seems fine. Let's do a cargo build just to get everything downloaded and installed and make sure everything works. So I'm going to stop cross-compiling this, and I'm going to delete the .cargo folder with the linker. And in the make file, I'm going to remove the target here. So we should be cargo installing the crates into the bins folder anyway. So that should be all that we need to make in terms of changes. I don't think that we actually need to cross-compile this, so it's not a huge deal. We'll find out in a second. No packages is found with binaries or examples. So we're successfully building, but my make command is erroring out because we have a library that doesn't have a binary in it. So instead, what I'm going to do is cargo build release for everything. Since we're not cross-compiling anymore, it's less of an issue. And instead of copying out of bins, I'm going to copy out of target, release, interactions into functions. And I can test that locally, which will run faster than testing it on Netlify CI. Now that we've removed the cross-compilation, Ring is happy again, and I can test the bot in our dedicated channel. Roll streamer should still work. It still works, which is good. We go into the Discord developer portal and go into applications. Then we need to sign in with the QR code, which I can do from the app. Party Corgi Discord bot. for Party Corgi Gatsby source. Party Corgi Discord bot, I believe, is the bot that we need. Yep. And this is the URL that we're supposed to be hitting. You can copy this token out. And now we should see Fortnite player here. And after accepting the Fortnite role, I now have the Fortnite role, which is exactly what we wanted. So hopefully this gave you some insight into what it's like to refactor a real world Rust application, specifically with Netlify serverless functions. I quite like that I didn't actually have to test any of the code that I wrote. I was able to just ship it. And the types that Rust gave me confidence in the fact that the code that I wrote actually did what I wanted it to do. So all of the signatures for the bodies and things like that are all still correct because Rust told me the changes I was making still fit the types that we were expecting for the relevant functions, even though I made quite wide sweeping changes and swapped out an entire library for the Lambda runtime. This is one of my favorite features of Rust, and I hope you enjoyed the episode today.